All right. Hello, Sean. Welcome back, everyone, to another tech update, almost weekly.
I'm gonna try to be better about it.
Right. All right. Well, so how have you been doing?
Good. Getting
Excellent.
a lot of work done over the summer here. It's nice and quiet.
Fantastic. All right. Well, let's get into it. I think we've mainly just got two topics to talk about today. Let's start with the text MMO.
Yep. So I've had two people working on this for the last week or so. We've probably got I don't know 30 something hours into it. A lot of it was training as well, right? Just getting the people up to speed in terms of crypto and the overall structure and everything else. So, but now things are definitely progressing over the last couple of days. I'm gonna share, which is briefly going to make the screen sort of go recursive here, unfortunately. Okay, and so I want to show you. So these are actual screenshots off of my iPhone. It is a web page, but I love the look of it because it looks like an app, and we're gonna try to make it be so that there's almost no text or keyboard involved at all. Obviously, for chat, we'll have to have a keyboard, but basically everything is just button based. So we're still working on some of the icons you can see here, like the icon for the inventory is a little different than the equipment. We'll clean those things up. But the idea is you can do your movement just by clicking on the D-pad kind of thing. It shows you the description of the room, and then it shows your vital stats, so to speak. This is already integrated into the Dynamo crypto wallet. So as soon as you come to the website, you create a character, and when you do that, it registers a wallet for you, and then you'll be able to earn gold in the game, which of course can then be translated into Dynamo, and you can also purchase gold using Dynamo in the game. So it's a fully crypto-enabled game already out of the box. We've already got that functionality. So we've just been really replicating a lot of the functionality that was in the Discord MMO. So right now it does have the showing the description. You can move around. So I'll show you, if we go to a different room, then it shows a different room. And it also has the enabled the resource gathering. So we have like chopping oak trees or mining ore. All of those things are already implemented. That's all working. And you'll see in the next slide, if I chop an oak tree, then I might find I don't get anything. There's a cooldown on it, 30-second cooldown. So it does remember. And so it says you can't do that for another 30 seconds or whatever. And then on this particular instance, when I tried again, then I was able to get 3 oak logs. We're working on developing the inventory screen now, and then we'll do the merchant screen next week. So I think by the end of next week, we'll have essentially all of the Discord functionality re-implemented in this web-based interface, and so we'll be able to go ahead and release it to a beta test late next week, I think.
Right. So we'll have a number of additional buttons that show up as is appropriate depending on what's going on.
Whatever's in the room, yeah. So where it says chop oak tree, there might be mine ore, there might be sell or buy or craft or whatever, all the different things that were available in the Discord buttons. These will just be translated into these buttons. So, yeah.
Excellent. Okay.
Yeah. So quite happy about that. I like the way it looks. It looks cool. I don't know. We're going to have to figure out what the name is. The Immortal Realms is maybe a working title, let's call it. That's actually the name. That's the name of the font that I'm using, which I
Perfect.
Which that sounded kind of cool, but that maybe we'll just call that the working title. I don't know what the real name of this will be. Right. And probably, there is another group of people who's working on the creatives. I'm just doing the tech piece, so we'll let them decide.
Right. Well, excellent. Well, thanks for showing the interface. That's looking good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then, if that's it for TextMO from you, let's move on to the latest on proof of stake development. I know you've been working a lot on that, and you've got some things to show.
Yep. Yep. So let me go over to that tab there. All right. So just zoom it in a little bit more here. So there is a lot of complexity to this, and I knew it was going to be. And so as I got into some of the implementation, I determined that there were issues with both potential security problems and potential performance problems. One of the things that I think about a lot is what can people do bad to the chain, right?
Right.
If somebody just creates a million staking of 0.001 Dynamo each, just to be bad, right? Just to try to bring it down. How is it going to handle that? So there were several changes to the implementation details. There were no changes to the economics, no changes to the way that you earn. The only, I would say, slight change is that the payout schedule. So originally I was thinking that you'd have 1,000 blocks epoch, right? So over 1,000 blocks you earn. And at the end of that 1,000 blocks, it'll calculate it. It'll be a little bit of a cool down, and then it'll pay it out with 200 blocks later, let's say. Instead, it's going to be that you get paid out over some period of time, which will be determined by the mempool instead of just being on that one block. Just for a number of different reasons, I made that change, but and I'll go into that detail in the next slide. I'm still comfortable that we can put out a test net in about 3 weeks. Everything, a lot of the development shifted from the miner to the full node. So originally the miner updates were going to be just a whole lot more work. Now it's much more work in the full node, but I think the overall scope of work is still the same. And I like that because it also puts the risk back on the full node, I think, which is more important because that's where consensus is happening. So I just moved everything, I think, into the full node. We do have a nice third-party staking tool that a community member has put together. It allows people to do kind of what if I put in 100 coins today in 30 days, what would my staking rewards be? And we may actually help that person to extend it to do like pooled staking or other kinds of things where there's more services to it. So sorry, there's fireworks going on in the background. So and I did build in a number of these kind of what I call fail-safe mechanisms just to deal with real world events where soft forks happen, where a full node may go offline because of power or network. And of course, to handle some of these edge cases where people might try to do bad things to the chain. So I'm going to cover in the next slide what the sort of new implementation is. And it's a lot like what we originally talked about. And again, no changes to economics. So the staking is initiated by either a wallet transaction or a command line interface. If you're using the QT, we'll just create a command line interface for those people. If you're using the web wallet, then either one, right? If you're using the old purple dinosaur or using the new nice one, both of those will have staking commands built into them. I don't think we're going to get the Vidulum guys to build in staking, unfortunately, but maybe we could talk to them about it. But anyway, a command comes in that says, I want to stake my coins. Those coins are burned. The position is saved in a local database and is put onto the chain. Oh, lovely. Let me close Discord. So then the chain then relays to other full nodes, and they all get them in their staking database, and that keeps consensus clean. When we start to do the validation, so now I've staked my coins, and I want to claim my tickets. So as my tickets come up available to be claimed, the miner will mine those claims into the chain. The chain, again, will be relayed to new full nodes, but I'm not storing any local database of claim tickets at this point because, again, of the issues of soft forks and full nodes going offline. So step 2 is we just mine all the tickets into the chain. And then step 3 is we claim all our tickets. So at the end of an epoch, the full node, which has so many coins staked, submits a claim for its payout to the chain. The miners mine that transaction into the chain, and then the Coinbase is paid to the full node operator who has their staked coins. So again, but the key thing here is that we don't rely on any local database. We look at the last X blocks in the chain at the time of the best chain evaluation. So let's say that after 1,000 blocks, there's a 200 block cooldown. At block 1,200, all the full nodes will go back to that first 1,000 blocks and look at actually what's in those blocks, because that's assumed that that's not going to change, right? We're not going to have a deep fork that's more than 200 blocks or something. So so it's much safer in terms of like if my full node turns off in the middle of that process or something like that. It's all completely reproducible. So a couple of technical implementation just notes. These are some of the things that that I'm thinking about and working on in the full node. So one of the things that we really need to be careful of is, we're opening up miners. We're allowing miners to generate Coinbase transactions to anyone. And so we have to make sure that consensus is really clean on what those Coinbase transactions are. That's super important. And so there's a lot of places to check that. And so I'm just being really, really diligent about making sure that we're not allowing miners to generate unlimited Coinbase transactions to themselves, right? Like those kinds of things. So soft forks is so critical, right? So we need to make sure that full nodes don't get pruned off of the main chain just because of a soft fork, and then they lose consensus. So it's important that we reevaluate everything at any time that a soft fork happens. So there's a lot of points that I'm checking on that as well. A lot of little critical junctures there. Again, denial of service. We need to make sure that somebody doesn't try to blow out the block size or blow out the number of Coinbase transactions that you can have, that kind of stuff. So forcing it through the mempool is going to use some of the native Bitcoin core technologies to smooth that out, let's say. I think that's going to solve that. Again, a lot of testing. We have to do, a couple months of testing on this, but I think that's going to work. And then again, like I said, the restart of the full node. So if your full node goes offline in the middle of trying to claim rewards, like how does that restart? Does it restart correctly? And so there's a lot of touch points that say, am I in what they call IBD, initial block download? If I'm in that phase, we want to disable any kind of staking stuff whatsoever. So you shouldn't be able to claim rewards. You shouldn't be able to generate tickets. You should, like all that kind of stuff. And so there's a lot of points in the code where I'm checking all of those things. So yeah, there's just a lot of little details that's taking a while to implement and test. And I'm gonna stop sharing. Just from a testing standpoint, remember it's difficult to test these things because you have to compile the core, you have to deploy it to another core, and then you have to set up a miner, and you have to start mining and make sure it works. Like all those little things. So there's a lot of details there.
Right.
Yeah.
So based on your preliminary timeline schedule, roughly what phase or what step would you say you're at on that?
Well, still working on the full node, but I'm probably 60 to 70% through working on the full node.
Okay.
So good. very close to the original schedule that we published. And again, I think I'm well within the time frame of what we talked about for full implementation, barring anything that we find in testing. I don't know what's going to happen, obviously.
Right.
Testing, but
okay.
Yep.
So real quick on that every 1,000 block schedule that you kind of were talking about, is that now still a thing or not?
It still will be that that rewards are paid out every 1,000 blocks. We don't want to have people like claiming rewards every single block,
Yeah.
right? Because it's first of all, one of the slight changes. I guess this is sort of an economic change. People who do staking will need to submit transactions, and there's a transaction fee. There's always going to be that, the gas fee associated with a transaction. It'll be de minimis, right, compared to whatever the staking rewards are. But that's a slight change. So you don't want to have people clogging up the chain with submitting for rewards all the time. Right. And I think 1,000 blocks is a good sort of time frame, and 200 blocks is like a really safe, like deep fork time frame for us. I mean, because we are a fast block time, so there's a possibility. Like I see forks that are 10 or 15 blocks deep all the time. So 200 is like really, really safe. I mean, that's what all the exchanges use for us as an example.
So I'm wondering on that 1,000, every 1,000 blocks, is that going to be the same 1,000 blocks for every full node, or can each full node be on its own 1,000 block schedule, so to speak? So it's just kind of more spread out.
No, it has to be all the same because consensus has to agree, right? So all the full nodes have to agree, block 10,000 to block 11,000 is the payment block, right? Otherwise, consensus won't work.
Okay.
Yeah. That's another thing about this. I didn't really go into the slides, but there's, doing this in a distributed way is really challenging. Most pure proof of stake implementations rely on masternodes, and they rely on the fact that you're trusting that masternode for its round to be honest. And that's a lot of what the nothing at stake attack is about. So it's a little bit dangerous, frankly, in my opinion, and it's centralized, right? So doing this, this is a little bit unique how this is being implemented in terms of fully distributed stuff.
Right. Cool.
Yeah.
So what's up with all the fireworks today? We can even see some in your window.
Yeah.
You should get that to happen when we finish proof of staking.
Yeah, there's so like right behind us is Greenville Country Club, and they do during this time of year they do all kinds of fire. They send us letters in this subdivision telling us, on such and such a day we're gonna do fireworks or whatever.
It's like the week of the 4th type.
Yeah, even last weekend they were doing it. Yeah, they were doing it. So yeah,
great. Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for the update. Then I'd say that that's all fascinating, and yeah, I know it does take a lot of a thought to try and cover all the bases. There's a lot to consider when building something like this and trying to keep it secure. So
yeah, I think that's the thing is right. Security and performance and decentralization are these 3 prongs of a stool, and if anyone falls off, the whole thing goes down. Right. So
okay, very good. Well, unless you got anything else, I think that pretty much wraps up this one.
Yep, good.
Very good. All right. Thanks for everyone who is watching, and we'll be back next time with some more.
Yeah.
Be well.